Annie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So Eastside Academy, right? Now I'm pulling up
Yes.
my notes. Let's see, here we go. And I'm just putting them over here. Oh, I got to stop sharing is what I got to do. There we go. Boom, there we go. All right. So Eastside Academy, we're talking about fundraising and community engagement during COVID. Annie's, am I saying Annie, right?
Yes, you
And
can.
why? I'm just like, I've never seen it spelled that way. For the past 3.5 years and been in her current role for over just about a year. Grew up in Oregon and moved to Washington to attend Northwest University. That's in Kirkland, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, awesome. Graduated with a business degree, and upon graduating, knew that you wanted to make an impact, and that's what led you to Eastside Academy. All right, so tell us a little bit about the work that you do for Eastside Academy.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I should explain kind of what Eastside Academy is
Yeah, that'd be good.
first, just for those of you guys that do not know. So Eastside Academy, the short end of it is we are a alternative high school, and we serve students that are struggling with traditional high school. And I'll go into more of the details later on, but they are students that potentially are struggling with mental health issues or drug or alcohol related issues. Obviously, those overlap here and there. But what I do for Eastside Academy, and I'll be calling it EA just to shorten it up.
Okay.
But what I do is am the community partnerships officer, which is essentially fundraising, development, anything where somebody is like, hey, I want to be involved in this way, like, or can you use this skill set? And I'll kind of try to match them up. So the other day I was actually talking to a financial advisor, and she was just like, oh, I would love to be involved with your organization. How can I get involved? And we're thinking about potentially having her talk to the students, because we do have people come in and chat with them about financial literacy, things like that. So just trying to connect people from the community to Eastside Academy in whatever way they can, and then fundraise as well.
So does Eastside Academy have a traditional location?
It does.
Okay.
So we actually are located in Bellevue.
Okay.
And we are housed in a church, the Bellevue Presbyterian Church. When they added on to that church, they actually did two kind of floors. That is where we are currently
Oh, that's
at.
awesome.
Yeah.
And so how many students, and currently I'm guessing maybe it looks a little different than it did before, but
Yeah.
how many students are typically a part of the Eastside Academy?
Yeah, so we intentionally we try to keep it small. That's kind of the whole point. We don't want people to fall through the cracks. So we max it's 50 students.
50.
And currently we're not quite there. I'm not sure the exact number. I think we're in like the 30s or 40s currently.
And so how have things changed since COVID?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot. We actually are one of the few schools that are doing like a hybrid model. So we are in class in person 3 days out of the week because we can social distance. We have the space for it. We don't have that many students, so we have that ability, and we think it's important to be in person. But then also Thursday, Friday, we have online classes, and that's kind of due to in case things go back to just being online fully, like we don't want them to get out of the rhythm, because a lot of students have seen like significantly decreasing attendance and different things like that, just because that's just so different. So we want them to continue to remember how to do that online.
How to do schooling.
Yeah.
So since these are kids that have been, struggling in general, I'm guessing the level of consistency has probably been really good for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Considering the current environment in public schools, because right now they're still trying to figure out how to get those started. So Eastside Academy it's privately funded, but you also raise funds. Kind of tell me how that works. I mean, if somebody wants to send their child there, they're going to have to pay tuition, right?
Yeah, so tuition is on a sliding scale. So we never turn away anybody because they can't pay for tuition. So I would say probably 99% of our students have some sort of scholarship. Basically, it just depends on the need. So it literally is just a formula. You put in how much your family can contribute, and then we scholarship the rest of it. And that's kind of where I come in with fundraising. So to make that possible. So that is never a deterrent. We don't ever want it to be a deterrent for people. But yeah, that's kind of what we do.
Okay, so now that we have kind of a crazy, environment, and your role is community engagement and fundraising. How has the fundraising aspect of it changed?
Yeah. Oh man, it's changed so much. So, for example, we had our annual auction just this past October, and that's normally in person. That's normally a big event where 300 plus people come together
Oh,
in
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
This time it was online and it was virtual, and it's different.
How were the results?
The results were, um, we actually did better in certain segments of our auction than we would have done, or we have done in person. So for example, we have a fund a need section, and we did better this year than last year. However, things like the dessert dash, we didn't bring in nearly as much money as we did last year. And that's kind of makes sense because there weren't as many like cakes, and it was just done differently, and you don't have the kind of environment of, oh, I want to beat the next table and
Yeah,
get a better cake.
it's not as competitive when you're kind of
Yeah,
sitting back. Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
yeah,
Well, I guess some ideas would probably have to do a little bit more often and get more creative. I know as a real estate agent, we're getting creative. We're doing virtual open houses. It's not the
yeah,
same as walking through a house, but
yeah,
it certainly is.
sure.
So, and as far as community engagement, give me an idea of what that looked like before the pandemic.
Yeah, so before the pandemic, we would have so we had these things called luncheons where anybody who was remotely interested in Eastside Academy, there was just once a month, there was a specific day, they would come in, they could talk to, we usually had a student kind of share a little bit about their experience. We had the executive director talk to them, and then they could ask any questions that they would want. And that was like a huge part of just getting people involved. And then it was also just so personal. We have volunteers that come in and they would bring donuts for the students, and then they would help in a math class. And now it's just obviously way different. We've been helping a lot with providing food for some families, and so we do have volunteers now that come in, and they will actually like pick up food, drop food off, like that type of thing. So it's just more removed, I guess, just due to COVID. So things like that have had to change. And
I feel like you could do some Zoom calls and have some professionals come in and do Q&A and stuff like that. That would be really cool.
yeah, so actually, I think it's this next week, we are having some finance people come in and talk to the students just about the finance, and then I think we typically have like a career day type thing during the year, and I think we're going to have that sometime this year, and it's going to be Zoom.
Yeah.
And it's going to just be like a different profession, different people talking about their profession. Yeah.
Okay. So how have your volunteers, mentors, and donors been able to stay connected to Eastside Academy?
Yeah, so our mentors, typically a mentor would come in once a week and eat lunch with their student in person. Now that's
Do they
over
have
Zoom.
one-to-one mentors? Is that how that
They
works?
do. They have one-to-one mentors. We match them up there's like a whole application process.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we match them up, and typically they stay in that mentorship relationship after they graduate. And now it's over Zoom. So they are eating lunch together, over Zoom, and they're having that communication there. Volunteers are finding creative ways to volunteer, kind of like the food drop-off. And yeah, it's been interesting. Or yeah, actually, I can't think of what I was going to say next.
That's all right. That's all right. So how can people get involved?
Yeah. So people can get involved in several different ways. They can apply to be a mentor if that is something that they would like to do. If they're like, wow, I have this skill set, and I would love to teach students about this, whether that's like health. There's so many different things. They can reach out to me and get involved in that way.
How does the application, where can they find that information?
Yeah, so online at eastsideacademy.org, we have our mentorship application. There's also a volunteer application there. And then if there's something really like unique, they can always just email me. If they're like, hey, I have this like amazing idea to get, and I would love to be involved in this way, then that could also be a route they take.
Awesome. So is there a website you guys have?
Yeah, it's eastsideacademy.org.
Eastsideacademy.org.
Mm-hmm.
And Annie, I almost called. Hey,
It's okay.
How else can people get involved besides becoming a mentor? They can donate. Yeah.
Yeah. We are always looking for donations. And I know that a lot of times people are like, we have a housing program, for example. So sometimes people are more passionate about having their money go towards the housing program. And so we are able to kind of say like, hey, if this is what you're passionate about, this is where your dollars are going to go to. So that would always be helpful.
Awesome. Amy, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to share with us about Eastside Academy. I had no idea we had something like that here, and it's great to promote that.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. All right. So as we close out our podcast for the day, I want to thank you all for visiting. Thank our guests, Michael Burdick and Amy. Amy, how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Anny Ilisoi.
Dang it. See, I said Annie.
I know. Everybody says it. It's okay.
Right? You're like, I'm so tired of this. So Anny, last name?
Ilisoi.
Ilisoi. Anny Ilisoi. I'm going to work on that. Thanks to our guests. And as you know, the Eastside Real Estate team is currently partnered with a nonprofit called Best Christmas Ever. And we are also trying to raise money to provide a best Christmas for a family here in Bellevue. We've got the family identified. It's awesome. You can donate either a gift. We've got an Amazon wish list set up. Anybody can do this. So, go to the eastsiderealestateteam.com. Go to our About section and giving, and then there's a quick way to get there, actually. You can go to eastside.team/donate, and on there is a link to the Amazon wish list. If you prefer to give a gift that's going to go directly to the kids or the mom, you can do that there. Thanks for watching our show. We appreciate it. Have a great week.